Hello, welcome to today's immigration tidbit. Okay, well, first of all, the notifications and what needs to be done is not generated out of the air. You need to have filed some affirmative actions and papers in order for this to go forward. Okay, you end this question by saying you're a U.S. citizen and he's your husband, and the priority date is September 7th, 2018. Okay, well, first of all, if you're a U.S. citizen, priority date's irrelevant because the immediate relative category applies to U.S. citizens petitioning their spouses. Now, it's possible you were a lawful permanent resident at the time you got married, upon which there is a priority date, but the moment you became a U.S. citizen, that priority date became irrelevant. So I suspect what's happened is you filed the I-130, which is the beginning paperwork. That's all it is. I mean, it proves that you are who you are. He is who he is. You know, he's a foreigner that has married you. You're either a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident, and you submitted, hopefully, documents to show the bona fides of the marriage, and hopefully the I-130 was approved. I'm suspecting the I-130 was approved because if it wasn't, you'd be asking what happened to your I-130. Now, given that, I think what you might be thinking is that you filed the I-130, it was approved, and there's nothing more you need to do before an interview is set. And that's not how it works. So number one, no priority date for you, it's irrelevant. Number two, if you have the approved I-130 and you did the I-130, you should have designated in the petition itself that your husband lives in Ecuador and that's where he will do consulate processing. I'm hoping you did that. If not, then the I-130 needs to be amended because either you adjust status in the U.S. or you consular process outside the U.S. So hopefully you put that. Now, once the I-130 is approved, they are going to send, if you did this right, they will send the approval of the I-130 to the National Visa Center. Okay, that's still in the United States. You will get notification that it has been transferred to the NVC and that a case is being opened there through the Department of State, and what you need to do. And you need to, pay the visa fees, go online, provide the documents for the joint affidavit of support, essentially show all the financial capabilities of what needs to be done so that your husband doesn't become a public charge. Again, I could be jumping out on a limb here, but I'm assuming you did not get those notices. And if you didn't, you're going to have to file an amended I-130 petition so that it will properly send the petition to the MVC, or you could request what's called an I-824, and that will, it's going to delay things, but that will send an official copy of the I-130 to the MVC. Now, if on the other hand you did receive notification from the NVC and you did provide all of the documents and information and tax returns and things that are needed to show that there's no issue regarding being a public charge for your husband, they then will forward the case onto the U.S. consulate closest to where your husband resides. Now, once they do that, once the U.S. consulate gets notification, they open their own case and then they forward information to you about what needs to be done, and your husband basically has to fill out another application, usually online, in order for final processing. So at a minimum, I would need to determine and make sure, assuming everything goes smoothly, that your husband is not inadmissible on any grounds. Did he commit any crimes? Is he going to become a public charge? Has he committed any fraud? Has he stayed here unlawfully in the U.S. at all? There's all kinds. Does he have any transferable medical conditions? Things like that. But assuming that's not the case, then I need to see where the case is. But normally, once it hits the NVC, it will take about 3 to 6 months to get over to the consulate, at which point, if everything goes smoothly, the interview notice will be generated, and then your husband will go for the interview for lawful permanent residency. And if approved, he'll be able to come here as a lawful permanent resident. He'll get the I-551 stamp in his passport, and once he gets here, in about 3 months, he'll get the actual green card. Okay?